the finish to the season that you wanted, Jacko?
No, I think that's clear. You want to win football matches, particularly, with the season we've had. We wanted to finish on a high. I think there was elements of that game where we could take a lot of positives from, but there's certain elements which kind of typify our season so far. So I think if you were saying one game sums up our season, that's probably it.
The young players are really starting to come on though. You're seeing a lot more out of Culina, Brantman again, and of course young Haynes.
Yeah, and I think that's when I did the pre-game, they kind of said, "Oh yeah, you kind of blooding some of these youngsters to have a look at them for next year." And I said, "No, they're the same youngsters who've been there all season. There's no new ones. Probably Michael Paragali, who was on the bench, who's not made a start yet. He's one of our 23s players." But the rest have been in and around it all season. But the names you mentioned there are just a few who've really grown and taken to the challenge. With any young players, what you'll get is inconsistencies. Of course, you will. But we're not where we want to be. Of course, we're not. But we will be kind of buoyed by the progress a lot of the youngsters have made, and they're only going to get better. They're only going to get better, and I think certainly they will have a platform at this football club going forward. And I've said to those players in particular, those who've been around the first team for last season and this season, that you're not going to be young players going into next season. There's going to be an expectation from me that you are going to perform. So it's up to us to support them through that, to push them through that as well. And for them to accept that challenge to go and perform. So I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll be hungrier going into next year as well, and certainly more experienced as well.
Talk about positives from the game. 23 or 24 shots on goal, I think it was tonight. So creating the chances, just unable to finish them off. Could have been a much different night tonight. Yeah,
I think so, and that's probably been something where we've fallen down, creating opportunities and chances and scoring goals. And so to get them stats, I mean, stats can be a little bit misleading, so I'd have to kind of look back at the game, and I think probably a lot of those opportunities maybe come from shots and outside the box and things like that. So whether they were kind of the chances we ideally want to create, or they're just kind of opportunities, and I'll see that in the debrief once I watch the game back. But what we did have in the second half was more pressure on Brisbane and kept them camped in a little bit more. So there were a lot of pleasing aspects from that point for me. We spoke a lot over the last week, particularly in our play, about combination play and moving and creating and being fluid in our movements. And I saw signs of that in the second half, which was really pleasing. But no, credit to Brisbane. I said to Ruben after the game, I said, it's been a difficult season for him as well. I think he's conducted himself extremely well under challenging circumstances. All managers are the same. We all go through the same pressures and things like that. And, I said to him after the game, congratulations on the win, and, credit to you for handling yourself in the way you did.
What about this season overall? Not where you wanted to finish on the A-League table. What do you take from the season? Obviously, preparation for the next campaign.
Yeah, clear. We had expectations to be in the top six. Of course we did. And I still believe the squad we have could do that. It's been inconsistencies in our performances. That's what it's been. The challenge of being in the Champions League as well, which was a fantastic experience, by the way, for the younger players, to help them grow and learn what is needed to perform at that level. I think that's the biggest thing. What they need to do, where they need to get to perform at that level. Ultimately it's been extremely disappointing, and there's nobody more disappointed than me. It's gut-wrenching for me not to be in finals football and pushing at the top end of the table. It really, really is. And a lot of the staff and the players share that feeling as well. But this is football. This is competitive sport. This is where we are. There's other teams in the A-League bigger than us who are suffering as well. But listen, there's a clear expectation of where we want to be. But the positives from this season, again, more will come out probably in our debrief. But the positives are the emergence of some of this young talent on the coast. That's the positives, and what experience they'll take into next season.
Moving forward to next season, looking at your squad right now, are you thinking there could be some changes as you start to move forward?
Yeah, there'll be changes to the squad. Yeah, there'll be that's clear. Of what the parameters are of what we're going to work with and where we're going to work is probably going to be decided over the coming weeks. Like I said before, people behind the scenes are working really hard to secure the future of the football club. I respect that because, the Central Coast, the A-League needs this football club in it. So people are working extremely hard behind the scenes to do that, and I respect that. And like I said, probably it's a little bit of a waiting game now to see what the parameters are of what we can do and where we can work. We've got ideas of how we want to build a squad with a clear identity of youth. That's clear. It's always been there at the Mariners, of course, but I think it'll be more prominent next year. I think that's a clear message what it'll be. But the important thing is that the club's future is secured, and it has that little bit of stability and things where it can move forward.
How challenging is that for you personally, trying to, have to be really patient to wait till things are settled off the field so you can start to get to work and do what you do best?
Managers have challenges and different challenges all around the world, in the A-League, all around. This is what we do as managers, and it's never smooth sailing, never. So it's frustrating because you want to get to work straight away. The first thing you want to do after the season we've had is get straight on it, but we can't do that for the reasons I've said before, and quite rightly so as well. So it's just about being patient. It's about lining things up. It's about having things in place that when we can make steps forward or make signings and move forward with things that we can do that. So that's my job. That's Simo's job as well. That we work behind the scenes, but. For me, I'm itching to get going for next year. But we'll just wait and see what the outcome of the next few weeks are of how the club's going to move forward.
And just to run Brian Countack, if that was his last game in Mariners colours, what a successful time he's had at this football club.
Yeah, I've said before that I think that's Brian wants to move on. He wants to move overseas, and we have to respect that. He probably wants to. Never been money driven, of course, but he probably wants to, taste a little bit of the financial rewards that maybe a player of his level could maybe get, and we can't give him. So I respect that, of course I do. What a fantastic, as I said before the game, what a fantastic person before the footballer. He's been a fantastic servant to this club, on the pitch, but also off the pitch as well. I think you see all our players have a culture where they embrace with the community and do that, and Brian embodies that as well. He really is a fantastic, I won't say young man because he's not, he's a little bit older, but he's a fantastic person, Brian. I've really enjoyed working with him. Nothing's set yet, I just say that, nothing's set. But he has expressed the desire to move and look at opportunities elsewhere.
And finally, Australia Cup qualifiers now in Darwin. Don't know your opponent yet, but looking forward to making sure that you actually get into the final 32. Yeah,
of course, that's a challenge for us, and it's not foot off the gas now. Of course, it's not. It's about preparing for that. We respect that competition immensely, and we were disappointed this year to go out in the early stages. But yeah, we'll respect that. We'll prepare. We'll look at what players are available, who's going to perform in training. That's a big thing. What I've said to the players this week, I want levels of training to go up even more, and that'll be a real focus for us going forward next year as well. It's about raising standards all around so that we don't endure a season we've had this year.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, fellas.
Thanks, Jacko.
No worries. Oh.